The Fast and the Furious.
It's about family. Tell me. You have something against family, SoSo Juv?
No, I have nothing against
all right then. You got nothing
family.
against this movie.
I think where I struggle with it when I think about it gives me comparison to like the Saw movie, right? Like, it's your boy SoSo Juv, and we back in the building. And welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast, the best kept secret in podcasting. I'm gonna quickly go ahead and reintroduce the cast of characters. HLS in the building.
Yo, what up?
Logical Genius in the building.
What's up, everyone?
And our esteemed guest, Jaze Bordeaux, still in the building.
What's happening, guys?
Oh man, there's a lot happening, and I can't wait to unpack that. But before we unpack, let's go ahead and do a recap. HLS, kick us off with the recap of, once again, people, the topic is movies that left its mark on the culture.
Listen,
HLS got fired in the last episode. He can no longer announce the topic. So go ahead, HLS, give us your recap.
at number 5, I have the New Edition story. At number 4, Fruitvale Station. Number 3, Brown Sugar. Number 2, Get Out. And number 1, Black Panther.
And this is SoSo Juv, and my 5 cents on the movies that left its mark on the culture. At number 5, I have Love and Basketball. At number 4, I have Training Day. At number 3, I have Crash. At number 2, I have Kim Kardashian's Sex Tape. And at number 1, I have Brokeback Mountain.
And this is the Logical Genius, and my list is at 5, The Fast and the Furious. 4 is Wall-E. 3, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. 2, Get Out. And number 1, Iron Man.
All right. So, Logical Genius, go ahead and explain to James what's about to happen next.
All right, Jace. You're gonna have an opportunity to ask questions, right, of our interesting list that we presented to you. I'm sure you have a lot, but we call this section or this segment cross-examination, where we get to poke holes at each other's list, ask some questions, and maybe try to win your favor and influence you in one direction or another. You obviously have an opportunity to ask whatever questions you want to ask of our list, but we're going to try to attack each other's list and make it easier for you or difficult for you, depending on how you look at it.
So what do you have for cross-examination, Jace?
Well, let's start with HLS.
Sure,
Now,
what's up?
your list was very focused, right?
Yes, it was.
Now,
Not too patient, though. Not too patient.
compared to the other two, now, was that by design, just between us here? Or was there a crisscross in some of the communication here?
So listen, no matter which way you want to see it, all of mine left a mark on the culture. DA culture.
So you would say or feel as though your list has enough reach, widespread, where it's like embedded in the psyche of.
No, Jace, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I'm talking straight to you. I'm not worried about the psyche of everybody else. I'm talking about us.
Put your fist down.
Oh my goodness! My goodness.
I'm talking about
Oh
us,
my
Jace.
goodness.
I'm
You
talking
said
about us.
crisscross, James.
Stop
It's
it.
upside down. That's what's going on here.
Listen.
You can't do that while you're sitting on the toilet.
Listen. My list left its mark. Not only did it leave a mark on our culture, in turn, to be honest, if you want to go that route, I can. So, New Edition, like I said, highest grossing movie on BET. A lot of Caucasian folks or other folks who didn't know the impact the New Edition had on us growing up watched that movie. It wasn't 3 million black folks that watching it. It also, like I said, started the career of Woody McClain. It launched the Bobby Brown movie. Fruitvale Station, again, launched Michael B. Jordan as a leading man. This is his first starring role. It also launched Ryan Coogler as a director, his first feature film. Brown Sugar is a story within its own, but that was personal to me. Get Out. Everyone thought Jordan Peele was a comedian, only funny. He kicked that door open and told a very compelling story. Best original screenplay. And now he's one of Hollywood's it directors, which inspired a whole nother generation of directors. And Black Panther, again, it wasn't just black folks coming out seeing that movie. And it told Hollywood, hey, listen, you know what? Black people can lead and star in a film and it can be successful.
Okay. I like the cause and effect approach you took, just because I know we're going to get into some of that a little bit later, just in the different segment of the show. But I love that you took that approach. If not for this, then we don't have this, right? So I do like that about the list. I see your point of view. And you know what? I like where you're going with this.
Thank you, Jace. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who
Do you have
wanna-
anything else for cross-examination, Jace?
Any notes for the rest of everybody else, right?
Yeah.
It's up to you. You have any other
Any
questions?
questions that
Yeah.
you need to ask to help you out?
Now, so now there is and you took the cause effect as well. Training Day, you're correct. Without that, there's a ripple effect that comes from that. However, there's something on your list. There's 2 items on your list which are definitely open for a lot of discussion here.
Let him know, Jace. Let him know.
Yes, because we're here for the discussion, people.
Now, you actually make the Kim Kardashian tape with Ray J. You are correct. It did actually launch an entire industry. Actually, now thinking about it, you're actually correct about that. Now, what type in the industry that it launched, good, bad, ugly,
Yeah.
right? What do you think it did for
Oh
society?
my gosh. To me, personally, it killed brain cells. I mean, when you see some of these shows that are out here, and I mean, now you got all the love and hip hops and this, that, the third, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely tragic, and hard for me to watch. And that's just me personally, but I know that it's had an effect. Know that uh, people definitely discuss the impact. I know for myself, I am a basketball person. That's like the sport that I like. And when Chloe like married Lamar, like Lamar Odom, we went to college with him, myself and Logical Genius. Like, you know, Lamar Odom, like he's an NBA star. And I asked, who's a bigger star, Lamar Odom or Khloe Kardashian? And it was like Chloe, without a doubt. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is bigger than the NBA. This is bigger than life. And then, of course, you know, all the people that have been wrapped into the show, you know, Kanye West, you could say that he's a spinoff of the Kardashians. And he hasn't been the same since he got with the Kardashians, you know, so he could have his own show just based off of that.
So if we put you in a time machine and you could go back to that year when that tape came out and you can go back to whatever that point was and you could take possession of it, do you take it and destroy it? Or do you take it and allow it to get distributed?
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting
man.
question.
That is a great question. And I'm probably going to go the route of the third party person that released it. And they got themselves $1 million for releasing that tape. So give me the $1 million. I'm sorry, society.
You smut peddler. You're a smut peddler.
I'm going the route of that third party person. I'm sorry. Give me the $1 million so I can invest in something and then maybe build my own brand.
And you brought up Brokeback Mountain, which I haven't even thought about that film in a long time, right?
Yeah.
Now, which I like the cause and effect, just like you said, because without that, you don't get films like Moonlight. And but in the scope of society, because I literally forgot about the film until you just mentioned it, right? Where do you think it sits right now today in the scope of things? Did Did it create more tolerance? Did it like what? Like where do you think it took society to? And does society actually remember it?
Now, here it is, the controversy of it all. You have, and I'm gonna need y'all to help me out. You have Heath Ledger, and what's the other gentleman's name? There you go, Jake. Two males, we might even see them as alpha males with their appearance and the roles that they've had, get together for this cowboy western in which they're they're rolling around on a mountain. And the conversation that started from that, because I think that there was just a shock, right? And it won all these awards. It actually lost to my number 3, Crash, for the Oscars, but it did win a Golden Globe for Best Picture. But it became a conversation starter and a normalization of homosexual society, which is deeply under attack right now with the new administration in the United States. The reason it is under attack is people began to feel more open and free. Pride Month became more normalized because we're having this conversation now where it's like, I don't have to be in the closet. I can be this cowboy on the mountain rolling around. And because of that, to me, when you talk about shaping culture and civil rights for homosexuals, yes, it had a great impact. And I think has made society a little bit more tolerant. Now, I know we're trying to make America great again and we're trying to go backwards, but there's certain things that you can't go backwards on. There was the No Kings parade or movement, and the one in Boston, it combined with who? What group? And it was a Pride Month parade. So they combined theirs with the No Kings to have an excellent march in Boston, which was peaceful.
So do you think this film, let's say in 2030, becomes more relevant than it was when it came out?
Ooh, that's a great question. Because a lot happened after this movie. I would say this. The Me Too movement doesn't happen if we don't have what I just spoke about happen beforehand. Now, because of the tolerance of homosexual and rights and things of that nature, women start saying, well, what about me? Because when you think about the power structure, women, and especially black women, are on the bottom of the totem pole. So then Me Too spurns out of this. So will it get its due? I'm not sure. Heath Ledger is no longer alive. Everybody kind of remembers Heath for Joker, so I don't know if that has overshadowed the great work that was done in Brokeback Mountain, because I'll tell you, as a heterosexual black male, I had no desire to watch the movie, and then I watched the movie, and as I matured, kind of the tolerance came with that piece, and I realized its impact.
Okay. Yeah. That speaks to its impact on cultural right there. That last statement could just sums it right up, right?
Yep. Because I was in the club talking about the Chi-Chi-Man. I was doing all of that
Yeah.
stuff, but now I have more of an understanding.
Yeah. That speaks to the power of film and its mark on culture right there. Yeah.
So I have to give you credit. I honestly, I'm tipping my hat off to you. The one I'm not wearing. I have never seen it in my life, let alone this show, the extraordinary reach that you just displayed.
You
to say Brokeback Mountain spawned and was the starter to the Me Too movement. That connection.
You gotta get to step A to get to step B. Step A to step B.
Well done. You're so stretch Armstrong.
Okay.
That's what you want.
Well, good thing you don't have to decide. Good thing you don't.
Yeah.
Because for you, we're still on black movies is our topic.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And what's the worst part about that is you're the one who selected this topic, so I don't even understand how we got it wrong.
Because I know what I was thinking. That's why. I knew what I was thinking.
Jay,
what I was thinking.
let me tell you, you had a conversation with me, and I gave the fellas like these are the options for topics. And he says, "Oh, I just want to tweak his third option," and he's the one who came up with this, and then is now talking about black movies.
Yeah.
We have receipts. We do have
We
receipts.
have
This
receipts.
is what I was thinking. What do you got for logical genius, Chase?
Well, I'm gonna say for the logical genius, your list is very methodical and very methodically laid out. As you were going through it, there's a few things that I hadn't even considered, but as you were going through it, I'm like, you know what? This is quite compelling here. Now, I have a question for you
Of course.
because some of the films you laid out would have hit or probably is focused towards a younger audience or at the time that they came out. Like you talked about the Fast and the Furious, you're right. The amount of movies that they spun out. Vin Diesel is basically, I think, I mean, I don't know if people separate Dom from Vin Diesel. It's the
No.
same
It's one
person.
and the
He's
same.
he,
One and the
he's
same. I think he has a Dom tattoo on his back or something like that.
he's a figure in pop culture, just like Clark Kent is. You know,
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
you know, The
Superhero.
Rock, whatever, right?
That
He's
flies
just
cars into space and into mountains and stuff like that. Like
yeah,
he's a superhero.
yeah, he's a fixture.
Yeah.
He can never go do a rom-com or
Yeah.
anything like
It's all
that.
about
Nobody will-
family. Look at all those memes. Every time you talk about family, you think about Dom. Who
Yeah.
started that conversation?
and yeah, they focused on some broad theme. They obviously focused on the broader theme of connectivity and family
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those things. But was there another? Did you look at this? Looking at, for example, the people who would have started to watch this film and have grown up following it for
Mm-hmm.
all these years, right? I'm trying to remember when the first one came out. I think it was
2001.
2001.
Mm-hmm.
So myself included, right? Have you considered maybe how the Fast and Furious has affected their worldview?
Yes, outside of them going to space in a Honda Accord.
Yeah. I mean, it made it possible. Like dudes from the hood can end up in space. Like I mean, it's a reach. You want to talk about reach? I mean, you had what started as a car film, right? This drag racing street level movie, to international espionage and crime, and then space travel somehow. So sky's the limit. So I guess I feel like if I watched this movie, which I did, seeing this in 2001 when I was a certain age, a young person, and I'm like, each movie inspired me to do more and inspired me to do more and inspired me to do more. So just the way the movies and films grew and did more and more and bigger, I would hope that the people that watch these movies got bigger and got inspired within their personal and professional lives. You never know,
Okay, so then on that note, when you go to a film like Wall-E, which is obviously targeting an even younger audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just bring this up because recently I was having discussions with some other people where I'm like, as an adult, I started to go back and watch Star Trek, and I realized a lot of my worldview is based on what I was watching as an 8-year-old kid. And so I'm just curious how much thought in this list went really towards that, like because sometimes
The
the
audience,
effect,
like the age of the
yeah,
audience. Well, here's the interesting, especially with a lot of Pixar movies, right? It's because it's an animated movie, people assume it's meant for children, which I think that's the demographic for the most part. But the storylines behind them touch on like adults, right? Like what do children really care about? Not that they don't care, but about like climate change, right? At a very young age, like you're talking about, like children under 10 or something like that. Like my nieces when they were watching this, whatever. Like that, I don't know if they pay attention to that. They like a cool anime movie with robots and space and there's funny moments here and there and entertaining. But like as the adult, you see it and you're like, oh, okay. They talk about, again, consumerization. It talks about climate change. These are all adult type themes, right? So I think that's where I think Pixar does a really good job of blending adult themes into movies that were intended for children, right? And you can go through a slew of them movies. Toy Story is the same thing. Up is the same thing. But Wally always kind of hits. I think Wally is a little bit more relevant because of what we talk about nowadays, right? Climate change and technology taking over the world and people being more lazy. And that's kind of like part of the theme. Like, are we going to get to a point where humans are just so lazy and so dependent on machines that we're going to end up like overweight people riding around these carts and just like not connected with each other in any kind of humanitarian like type of way. So I think I think it, again, on the surface it's a children's movie, but I think under that it's adult themed.
So then, so you went from Fast and Furious to Wally to Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? And then to Get Out, which HLS also had that on his list. But I was going to save this for you. Get Out is a little different from the others previously listed. What was the thought process with Get Out?
For me, it's similar. I think it's almost along the same lines as Wall-E to me. Like not in sense of the themes it talked about, but it caused a cultural like conversation around racism again, right? I remember when it first came out, I had people who were black, white, Asian talking about this movie and about like the angle that it took in terms of how it approached racism, and made it a little bit more interesting to discuss, right? Not that racism isn't a topic that can be discussed for days, hours, years, and generations. But I think it made it more like I think a lot of people who may not be black or a minority made it a little bit more comfortable than them for them to talk about this movie, like without getting too uncomfortable about talking about racism. So I think this movie kind of helped with that because it was a topic of conversation. Did you watch it? Did you understand what it was about? Did you get it? Like that opened up a conversation, a level of conversation that some of us or some of those who may not be exposed to racism or talk about racism on a regular basis are exposed to, and give them the avenue to kind of talk about that.
Do you think in 2035 Get Out still holds up? Somebody watching it in the year
I think so,
2035?
because I don't think racism is going to go away anytime soon. So, I think it hopefully gets better, but I don't think it's going to go away. So, I think the themes that it touches on is still relevant, would still be relevant in that time.
Okay, and so you're talking about the themes of racism and these types of things. Everywhere in the world, people will have their own experiences of racism. But somebody, let's say, in another territory, I don't know, some Vietnam, they're watching Get Out. How do you think they see this film?
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, racism across cultures, like we know it here in the United States, right? We grew up here. It's hard to say what racism is like in other cultures. Are there levels of racism in different cultures? Yes, I know this for sure, right? In South America, in Asia, or whatever. Like, I don't know if they would connect to it in the same way like Americans would, per se. So it's hard to say. I think some of the themes might be similar, but it's really going to be hard to kind of make that connection because one, it's a Western movie, right? It's the black and white angle, right? Some of us are brown, right? Not black or white, right? So it's hard to kind of relate in that regard. So it's tough to say. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I got some of the answers I was looking for.
All right. HLS, did you have anything for cross-examination?
I do. I kind of want to touch upon Kim Kardashian.
I know you
Talk to
want to touch
me.
upon that. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
So, how is that a movie? How is that a movie? I mean, was there a story to it? Was there any story to that?
There was a beginning, a middle, and a coming end. Now, this actually was distributed because that's actually one of the things that I looked up. I was like, does this classify as a movie or a recording? And it actually came out, but through Vivid Entertainment. That is the company. And for me, it meets movie. And we talking about impact. I've already kind of displayed what the impact is and what it has done.
It meets movie because how? How does it meet the movie criteria? Because there's a criteria for, not for this show, but for a movie, there's a criteria. What criteria does it meet to make a movie? Because it's released by Vivid?
So there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end.
What was the story? What was the story?
The
to the
story was about two people in lust. And they shared that lust with the world. And now we have Kardashians.
There's no argument in terms of what it launched.
Uh-huh.
The argument is, was it a movie?
I say yes. I say when you hit record, because movies, I mean, you have short films, you have long films, you have the Kardashian sex tape.
That's an interesting. I actually didn't look at it from. Well, I was thinking about, but yeah, like, are home movies considered movies? I mean, technically they're home movies. I mean, the word movie is in it. That's an interesting angle, HLS. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Jaze? Like, what do you think?
Movies.
Does that qualify to you as a movie?
Okay, you're right. I believe it did have commercial distribution. It was distributed commercially into whatever market. I think it was video on demand, or however they did it, meaning you could pay to watch it wherever you were, right? It was a VOD transaction, video on demand. So so it speaks to that. It wasn't just like a thing that was just filmed and uploaded or anything like that.
Or leaked, hacked,
or leaked. It was intentionally done, especially at a time where and it crossed over into mainstream. That's the interesting thing, right? Because I think back in those days, the adult section stuff was very clearly adult section, and everything else that was mainstream was in mainstream. So if memory serves me right, I think when that was coming out, it was like mainstream. It wasn't like separated into like an adult category. Strong argument, right? I can argue story points. Hey, in a script, you're gonna have a first act, a second, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, maybe they did have a script, right? Maybe they wrote out the scenes, act 1, act 2, or whatever the case might be. That one's a gray area.
Or it's improv.
Yeah,
improv, we kissed, and then we had foreplay, and then we had fornication.
What was the name of the movie? Every movie has a name. What was the name of the movie?
Oh, the Kim Kardashian sex tape. Well, it actually might have been Ray J's sex tape at that time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the name of it? Ray J's sex tape?
Yeah, maybe. Not to help SoSo Juv out, but I mean, if the bootleggers thought it was relevant enough to bootleg and sell on the streets, it might qualify as a movie.
So. Hey,
I wouldn't say it's cinema, but is it a movie? You make a compelling argument for it, right? So film.
Every movie has a name.
Yeah.
Every movie has a title.
Yes. The MS Johnson. Logical. Oh, no, actually, it's not logical. It's my turn. Hold on. Let me go. Oh, gosh. It's tough. Oh, gosh. I want to stay away from you, HLS, because, like,
why? My list is fire.
No, you keep coming to this show with 3 cents.
My list is fire.
So I'm gonna go logical, even though you're Brown Sugar. Although I love that movie, I mean, okay, logical. Almost kind of piggybacking off of Jaze's cross-examination. The Fast and the Furious.
It's about family. Tell me. You have something against family, SoSo Juv?
No, I have nothing against
All right then. You got nothing
family.
against this movie.
I think where I struggle with it when I think about it, it gives me comparison to like the Saw movies, right? Like the first Saw movie, great, and then it just got oversaturated. We had like 14 Saws, like, and it was like, oh, okay, like who cares? And I feel like
Mhm.
Fast and Furious kind of fell into that trap. At one point, Vin Diesel's no longer in the movies. The quality isn't really there anymore. You had epic moments as far as like Fast Five. Fast Five was a phenomenal movie. Let me not hate on that one.
Mhm.
But you have Paul Walker dying and the song with Wiz Khalifa
Wiz
and all of
Khalifa.
that stuff. Like,
Yep.
okay, you have moments, but to say like this was the foundation as if this was like Star Wars or something like that, I'm struggling with Fast and Furious being on the list for culture changing.
I mean, I see your point, but 25 years, 2001,
Saw
and people still
55.
are interested in the movie. I don't have the numbers on me, but like the latter movies were approaching on billion-dollar movies, like franchise, like just the movies themselves. Like I don't know what this next one's going to be because they're going to supposedly bring everyone back, but like you're kind of like similar to like Iron Man and the Marvel movies. You're kind of like tied into these characters now. I mean, Vin Diesel's the main guy, right? Because that's how he wants it. But like you're committed into these character development. Like I would have loved to see if Paul Wall was still around, if these movies were going to sustain and continue on. Excuse me, Paul Walker. Excuse me. Thank you. If they were going to maintain and continue on with these films constantly being produced, but like every single time a version comes out, you're thinking, okay, this isn't like it's not going to do anything, and then they constantly surprise. So people are still committed. People still remember these movies, and they're still a part of their lives and a part of their culture. And I think it's I don't know, the longevity says something. I think to me. 25 years of a franchise, like Star Wars had its run, and again it took decades and skipped decades and stuff like that, but it's been going since 2001. Like that's pretty incredible. So I think it's baked into people's, like, talking about making a mark, it's baked into people's lives. I think the Fast and Furious films, for better or worse, I guess.
Logical. Did you have anything for cross-examination?
Yeah, I mean, Jaze, HLS has this obsession with New Edition and Bobby Brown. I don't know why. It always, like, every single time, so hey, there's a documentary about Bobby Brown. Do you want to talk about Bobby Brown? I'm like, no one wants to talk about Bobby Brown, right? No. There's something about New Edition, the BET version. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with HLS and Bobby Brown. It's not even New Edition, it's Bobby Brown. I don't know. Something about maybe, hopefully one day Bobby Brown will be on the show. I don't know. I mean, Bobby Brown, you're listening. HLS, you got number one fan.
HLS needs you on the show. It's his prerogative that you're on the show.
Yeah, it's
Bobby
his prerogative.
Yep.
Listen, I've been seeing Bobby Brown blowing up on my feed a lot lately, and kudos to him. I see I know, a lot of things probably in his life. I'm sure just a very, very interesting conversation. Yeah. And I've been seeing a lot more snippets of him talking about just things that have happened.
Interviews,
but yeah, when I look back and see Bobby Brown from the late 80s, it's like, oh my goodness, right? This guy is on stage, and it actually, I know this is just a sidebar here because he brought it up, but let's just go there for just a quick second.
Let's go.
You see Bobby Brown on stage, he's dancing up a storm, the sweat is coming down, and I'm like, my goodness, the guys back then had to literally do everything. Like they were like catching their breath, singing the chords, like there was no cheating, right? Compared to today, not taking anything away from any artist today, but I'm like, my goodness, they were working for it back then. He was working for it.
He was working,
my
entertainer,
goodness, right?
entertainer.
And still is. When I saw him on stage, I guess the last year or something like that, he was still working.
You saw the New Edition tour?
I just saw some video on it. I didn't get to go to the concert.
I do remember seeing a video of something flying out of his pocket and people questioning what that was. He was reaching like, ooh, wait, let me put that in my pocket. But that's up for debate what it was. SoSo Juv, I think interesting for you, the number one, Brokeback Mountain. I actually had this on my list, but then took it out. Moonlight. I think Moonlight probably. I get what you're saying, where like cause and effect or whatever, but I think when you're talking about the culture, DA culture, I think Moonlight probably had more of a mark than Brokeback Mountain. I remember going to see Moonlight. I didn't realize I was going to see Moonlight. Right? It was a first date years ago when it first came out. It was some little small theater in New York City.
You got
And I'm
tricked
like, oh,
like the rest of us.
and like
Yeah.
I went and I'm like, and I got up. I'm like, oh, okay, that was a pretty good movie, and it got a lot of critical acclaim. Again, that whole La La Land mishap, right? That they got wrongfully announced or whatever. But that movie, it didn't spawn. I think a lot of people were expecting to spawn similar type movies after that. It didn't have the impact that it necessarily did. I don't think. Similar to your question, Jaze, about like how much impact did Brokeback Mountain have? I think that's still up in the air, especially I don't know this genre of LGBTQ plus movies. Again, some of them get critical acclaim. Are some of them box office success? Because ultimately, movies are about making money, right? It's about entertainment and about making money, and it's still up in the air about movies like making money, right? Making that much money. I mean, Brokeback Mountain did gross a significant amount of money because it was a pretty low budget film, right?
I think when it came out on Blu-ray, it did much better than the
Than
box
in the
office.
theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, honestly, if we were talking the culture, the number one would have been Moonlight. That would have been the swap out right there. But I, thought about like impact, and I felt like, yeah, but what gave Moonlight the audacity to come out? And I was like, okay, Brokeback Mountain gave the audacity for Moonlight to come out. Because if you switch it, I don't know if that same effect is happening. Because now you're talking about black men, and whereas if you have
it would have ended up on Tubi.
What's that? It might have ended up on Tubi. Yeah, it might have died like right there. It might not have ever seen the light of day.
Yeah,
but because of Brokeback Mountain, where you have these two Caucasian males, handsome gentlemen, maybe heartthrobs for the teeny boppers at that time frame.
Yeah.
Engaging in this movie, it allows Moonlight, and I think if you do it the other way around, it doesn't happen the same way.
Yeah, and interesting with Brokeback Mountain was directed by Ang Lee, who's an Asian film director, right? He's known for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? A lot of Asian type genres. So like him directing that movie and getting critical acclaim in that regard, I think he was always a great storyteller as a director. He's always known for that. But that's another interesting, aspect to the film.
So, Jaze, it feels like it's decision time. We want to know who is in third place. Who had the worst
list?
All right. Well, what I did something different. I went through your list and I actually scored it. So as you listed off the items, if I agreed with it, it got a point. If I didn't, I left it blank. So number 3, which technically I was gonna say this had potential to end up a little bit higher, but somebody created a compelling argument, right? Which I guess that score, not having that score, puts this list at number 3. And the number 3 list would be SoSo.
What?
And part of the reason you end up at number 3 is because HLS really presented a compelling argument about we can't deny the impact that the Kim Kardashian tape had, but is it a movie? Is it a movie? And
counter argument.
Talk about plot
that is a plot twist. That is a plot twist because HLS. I mean, this is your home.
Wow.
So I feel like I'm invading your home at this point, being in third, but it's okay. I'll save it to make it make sense.
HLS, you earned your paycheck in this episode. My
Listen,
goodness.
I told you
Yeah.
I was loading my
Whoa.
clip for cross-examination,
Whoa.
aiming it right at you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that one was enough to throw it off a bit because there's some questions about that. Is it a movie? And it did spawn a whole genre and a lot of things today, good, bad, or ugly, which maybe potentially even spawned on all our social media stuff, but that's another day, another discussion.
Yes.
But yeah, that one, that's a toss up, right?
Okay.
Toss up.
Wow. Shock.
Now, Jace, who we don't care about number 2. Who got the most points on your list and your criteria? Who got the most points? Who's number 1?
So number 1 out of the most points, and I'll tell you why. And I agreed with just about everything on the list, and I'll tell you why I believe this list is probably has had the most impact. And the number 1 list is going to be The Logical Genius.
Of course.
And the reason why is because if you look at the films, it's targeting younger audiences, and the problem is once you start to embed those messages there, you grow up with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You brought a good point about the Fast and the Furious. There's a lot of films that were made, no matter which way they started or where they are or how ridiculous they get. I mean, I am a fan of the franchise, but there is a consistent theme: family, relationship. So over 25 years, like, you have a generation almost that started with that. It's in the mindset, it's in the
25
psyche.
years.
You don't even realize sometimes how strong that is, and you might have people that are it's almost like it's a mindset for them as a result of this film.
Yep.
The film has spread everywhere in the world.
Global box
Everybody
office.
knows this film. Everybody knows Vin Diesel. He's a character, as we said, just like so it doesn't matter how ridiculous it gets. I just feel like they did stay consistent to one simple theme, and it's so simple that it could be embedded in the psyche very easily, very subtly, right? And it's something I think that ultimately will help people if they're focused on the family core, right? And what are you going to do for the family and protecting the family and keeping that connection and societies are built on families, right? So and Wally again was another one. It hits a much younger audience. They're growing up with these messages, and it's just embedded deep in the psyche, and they grow up with it, right? The kids who are protecting the environment were the ones probably watching Wally, and that might be where a lot of their worldview came from.
Yep.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, was, I feel like, almost the same. A lot of younger people were watching that film.
Yep.
How it affects things, we're going to find out.
Be determined,
10 years, 15, Get Out, I also agreed with, and one of the things I liked about Get Out, it also puts, without Get Out, you don't have Jordan Peele, and I think Jordan Peele is going to be one of the most influential and important filmmakers in the next 10, over the next 10 to 30 years, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I do agree with Iron Man. I have a counter title that could easily slip into that slide, but that also counts as well. I guess we'll get to that in shortly after.
I think I know. I think I might know, but I'm curious to hear it.
Okay,
later.
I don't know if I should say it now or later, but I think I'm supposed to.
Let me. We can talk about it. Let me just say this, Jaze. Your decision making is honestly SoSo Juv's line.
Don't you dare take my line.
It's quite logical, and I'm so glad you saw it. I mean, it's funny you were asking HLS earlier about his list was so focused and concentrated, whereas I've always taken the approach that if aliens came to this planet and asked you for the top 10 or top 5 movies of this, that what would you give them? And this list touches a broad spectrum. So I am so glad you went along with the logic.
Jaze, I need to know. What's your 5 cents on the topic? What do you have on your list?
Okay, so should I start with number 1, or should I go backwards?
Start with number 5.
Yeah, start with 5.
Okay, my number 5 was Black Panther, right? Just like HLS, because it speaks for itself. It mobilized an entire community. I feel like when I was growing up, I used to hear a lot of stupid things, like people say a black person could never be president, right? So I think one of the most powerful things maybe a guy like Obama did was show a certain community that that's not true, right? Black Panther, I feel like, was on that level and did something comparable, right? And obviously it speaks for itself. Number 4, I got to put Barbie on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what I was seeing with Barbie. I didn't go watch it in the theater. I remember when they were doing the whole marketing scheme, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing in the theaters. I'm like, this has to be one of the best things that ever happened for the theaters, because people showed up. The women showed up. They came in packs. They were dressing the part. Now, the next 3, I took a cause and effect approach, because I have to put Kill Bill 1 and 2 as number 3, because without Kill Bill 1 and 2, I don't think we start to see women in non-traditional roles, right? And or Uma Thurman was in that film, obviously, playing the assassin that she was playing, and it was such it was just one of those perfect example. Earlier when we spoke, I said, hey, we were doing a women's mixed martial arts film. And we had so many challenges with distributors saying, well, that's never going to sell. People don't want to see that, right? And even up until 2017, there was still a lot of resistance in terms of, can you put women in these like unconventional kind of roles, and will people buy it? Will it sell? Like, will it make money? And there just hadn't been a lot of places to point to, right?
Okay.
But Kill Bill, I think, was one of the OGs that kind of sets the way for where the era that we're approaching right now, like today, like literally right now. My number 2, Games of Thrones, was something widespread reach. It lives with us. Everybody was connected. People know the references. They know the names, but it's not a movie. So I'll go back to Lord of the Rings, because without Lord of the Rings, I don't think we have Games of Thrones.
Okay.
Right. And that was a setup for a whole type of genre that people didn't think was going to make money prior to Lord of the Rings. Right.
Yeah.
And my number 1 goes back to, and this is what I mentioned with the Logical Geniuses list. Your number 1 was Iron Man. You're right. We live in a world where it's impossible to conceive or talk about movies without mentioning Avengers or Justice League or The Boys, something. Look at like The Boys on Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazing show. Show.
Yeah. We have this new genre, right? But I'm actually going to put it with Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I think without that, you don't get into the stuff that Marvel did, right? I feel like that film like literally redefined and then revolutionized an entire genre, and it created something brand new. And obviously we know the characters are embedded in society. Everybody knows the characters. It's just it was such a different type of way that he presented the story. And then from that moment on, I feel as though it's like there was this new reality that emerged, right? And we can't live in a world.
He added a level of
these...
realism to those type of movies. Like, and I would counter, but it's outside of the 25 years. I would even say Blade was something like the comic book genre movies that would that transform what we were coming from in the past with comic book movies of like the Batman, like where Batman ended up the first like iterations, right? So yeah.
Yeah, same as well. So that's where I would place that. And again, cause and effect. Without one, you don't have the other. So HLS, I love the fact that you had Fruitville Station in there because it was a setup. You know, without Fruitville Station, you don't get Michael B. Jordan, you don't get Ryan Coogler. Without Fruitville Station, you don't get the Black Panther. You don't even get the Sinners, right? Maybe you don't even get the Creed.
Yeah,
So
Ivan Creed.
you know, so
they're the new Spike Lee and Denzel.
right. And I feel like society needs
Spike
them.
Lee and who?
Denzel.
Oh, okay.
They have a film coming out again soon, I think.
Training
I'm not
Day.
sure.
Just remember, you don't have anything on your list without. Okay, there you go. Continue.
And you're right. And Training Day was another setup because you don't get to a lot of things without Denzel or that film, right? So
Definitely.
I mean, realistically, I think if you guys came together and consolidated your list, it'd be untouchable.
It'll never happen.
Yeah, it'll never happen. But
I'm not
what we did do,
I'm not staining my list with their list. So I'm not.
but what we did do is we did ask the people what they thought on the topic,
Yeah, what do
and
people have
this
to
is
say?
what the people had to say about it. At number 5, it's actually on your back wall over there. We have Inception.
Oh,
At number 4, you had Moonlight. At number 3, you had Fruitvale Station. At number 2, you had Black Panther. And at number 1, you had Mean Girls. And
Girls.
yep,
okay.
I want to give a shout out to Mr. Midnight Moon, I would say, with the submission of the week. And Mr. Midnight Moon had 2 girls, 1 cup. If you know, you know.
Shout out to Mr. Midnight.
Mr. Midnight Moon with 2 girls and 1 cup.
He has a collection of that in the Kardashians.
I don't even want to know what socials we pull that from. I don't want to know. I don't know. Probably the same socials that put out Vivid Entertainment.
Oh, talk about social conversations, huh? Oh boy, 2 girls,
Logical
1 cup.
Genius. Did you ask artificial intelligence what it thought on the topic?
Yes, I did. So, Jaze, we asked ChatGPT, the all-knowing AI so far, what it thought were the top 5 movies that left a mark on the culture. So, at number 5, it gave us The Lord of the Rings, which was on your list. Talked about the trilogy having significant impact on the genre and fantasy genre, which spawned other movies and other similar type movies. At number 4, I had Get Out. For all the same reasons that we called out. It called it an elevated horror and made it mainstream with mainstream social topics. At number 3 is Avatar, the James Cameron movie that was fully digitized, made a lot of money. Surprised by that one, to be honest with you. At number 2, it's another movie that won an Academy Award. It's a foreign language movie. It's Parasite. It's a Korean movie, which makes sense because K-pop is real, right? Yeah. From music to movies to TV shows, like it has a huge influence now on a lot of culture, particularly in the West here. And at number 1, it went with what you went with, The Dark Knight. I went with the Batman, Christopher Nolan version. So agreed. ChatGPT agreed with your list for the most part.
ChatGPT agreed with The Dark Knight. Revolutionized the whole genre, which is why I think, or Batman. Not actually. I'm going with Batman Begins, not The Dark Knight. That was the second.
Well, yeah. But I think it was along the same lines of that. Like it's a Christopher Nolan movie, right? Film.
The whole sequel to it. Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Jace.
It's interesting. None of us brought up Avatar, and I saw the last film, and I thought it was, for the most part, a perfect film. And now that it came up, but I had a question to myself. I said, this is an interesting franchise because it makes a lot of money, but how does it affect like the culture? Like you don't hear people like referencing things from the film or
No,
talking about the film
Yeah.
or
nah,
anything of that nature.
it just made money.
It
It was
it
visually
just
appealing.
it's a beautiful film. I have no critique of it. There's nothing I could say to make it better, or if I improve it, it's almost like a perfect film.
Yeah.
But I had to ask that question. I'm like, it's a lot of non-perfect films though that people will talk about. They reference the characters, the lines. Here we are, Gladiator. I don't know how many 25, 26,
Mhm.
27 years later. I had somebody repeat the line the other day to me. It's like, "Are you entertained?
Yeah.
Do you know where that
Yes.
line came from?" Well, of course, everybody knows, right? So I didn't see that with Avatar, and it's interesting because it's a film that makes a lot of
A
money,
lot
and
of money.
there's more coming, and they're gonna make bucket loads of money,
Yeah.
like spaceships full of money. But it's just I just wondered. I'm like, nobody
I
really
think
ever talks about it.
I think with Avatar, like unlike some of the other movies we have on our list, like some of the other ones touch on like the cultural and social aspect. Whereas I think Avatar has, even from the first one, has an influence on movie making, right? Because it's fully engulfed like in the technology that James Cameron introduced as part of this filmmaking process, like revolutionized and carried up like the movie making industry. I think that's where the impact and the mark that it makes is really more on the movie industry and movie culture than like society and other things that we talked about from the other movies we had on our list. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, the film does hit something pretty deep in the sense of our history in North
Yeah,
America with the Aboriginal people, and the treatment of them very subtly, in a very,
yeah,
just like what every sci-fi film or any sci-fi film would do. It's just that it's just interesting for a film that's been seen by so many people,
yeah.
and you would think, and it's well reviewed and it's made so much money. I mean, look at, for example, like Games of Thrones. We still talk about the Mother of Dragons, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no references that we're pulling from. So I have actually wondered about it. Like, do people care? Is it taking root, or is this something that's going to take 30 years before we see how it really impacted people?
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe. I mean, Terminator. James Cameron's, one of his first movies, Terminator. Like that took a few years to kind of like sink in with the whole concept of artificial intelligence and all of that stuff taking over the world. Like, so maybe Avatar is the same way. Maybe it takes a few more years, even though like he's been releasing these movies like 10 years apart. I feel like so.
So I guess we'll see in part 3 of Avatar.
Yeah.
Jace, this is the part of the show where we allow you to shout out any social media or any projects that you're working on. Is there anything that you got cooking?
Well, obviously, I can be found at Jaze Bordeaux at my name across all social platforms. We briefly touched on EFC, which is a women's-based mixed martial arts film. So I'd say if you like films like Creed or The Wolf of Wall Street, or if you're a fan of just like action movies from the
Oh,
80s, stuff like that, you can find EFC across all digital platforms right now. We have another film coming out soon, I think in the next 6 to 9 months, called Let Go, psychological thriller,
Hmm.
psychological romantic thriller set
Okay.
in Europe across 14 different cities in Europe. And that one's interesting because it's all about kind of letting go of the past in order to move forward into your future. And you could, get more information about that at Let Go Movie. And one of the other films we're currently in development with, which is the one I've been looking forward to for a long time. Like, obviously, this next film is the film that I've always wanted to do. There's two of them, I could say, 2 out of the 10 that if I did nothing else, I only did these two films, I would be happy in my life, right? And the next one we have coming up is called Genesis, and it's all about original thought theory. So it's set in a world where every thought that could be thought has already been thought, so there's no more original thoughts left.
Hmm.
and you see, and I bring that up because of our theme for today, because I feel like this is going to be that film that's going to speak to not just our generation, but another generation after us, and it may help to provide some answers or
Okay.
some ideas when society reaches a certain point in time when they're saying, well, how come we have no more original ideas? How come we keep doing the same thing all over again, right? So I'm excited for that one. You could find that at Genesis Movie on Instagram as well, and just kind of follow just to stay updated on the progress of that film. And like I said, if you just follow me, you'll stay updated on everything, right?
All right, so
Awesome.
everybody give Jaze a follow there. Check out EFC. So we're gonna go ahead and say good night to the people. I'm gonna start us off. Jace, your decision making was quite questionable. You were bamboozled by HLS. HLS, to you, Kim Kardashian superstar, is a 2007 pornographic film featuring American television personality Kim Kardashian and singer actor Ray J. You can find that on IMDb.
Yeah. Is there a soundtrack? Is there a soundtrack to that movie?
But yeah, it's called. No, I won't even do no. But what I will do, Jaze, is I'm gonna follow your lead and I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go of the past so I can move on to the future. Good night, people. HLS, go ahead and say good night to the people.
Jays, you know what? I usually say you stepped in the wrong direction. But for this one, putting SoSo Juv last, you made the right decision. You made the right
Yeah,
call. This was trash.
take your win at second place.
Good night, everyone.
And Logical Genius and our champ for this week. Please say good night to the people.
Jaze, you made the best choice. You made the most logical choice. You know, and you got the theme. It's all about family, and you joined the MFC family. Thank you again for picking me, and thank you for joining the show. Good night, everyone.
And Jaze Bordeaux, our esteemed guest, please say good night to the people.
Guys, first off, let me say goodnight to you, because thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. You guys bring so much energy into all these episodes that you're doing, right? It's so much fun just listening to you guys, right? The laughs are great. To everybody else, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Good night, and I guess we will chat soon.
Jaze, thank you.